Chosen one, the spiritual weight of their betrayal has finally become unbearable. They are feeling sick to the stomach over what they did to you, and a confession is inbound. This is wild because the very person who once stood by while you were being set up is now breaking down completely. The guilt is rising in their throat like poison, and they are pacing in the middle of the night, rehearsing an apology that terrifies them to deliver. You need to understand the spiritual warfare that's been happening behind the scenes, because once you see it clearly, you'll finally understand why certain doors closed, why certain people vanished, why you felt that psychic attack even when you couldn't name it. The universe has been protecting you from a trap so deep, so calculated, that only divine intervention could pull you out. And that confession being prepared right now, it's coming. But before it arrives, you need to be ready for what it means and what it will reveal. There's a family wound here, an ancestral pattern that's been playing out through your bloodline for generations. Your ancestors are standing with you right now. Chosen one. They are the ones who woke you up when you were about to fall for the same trap that caught them. They are the ones who whispered in your ear to walk away when everyone else told you to stay. They are the ones who blocked certain connections because what you couldn't see yet was perfectly clear to them. This person from your past, this one who's shaking with guilt right now, got caught up in something much bigger than a simple romance or friendship. They became entangled with energies that wanted to see you fail, energies that saw your light and wanted to extinguish it. This person met you when you were glowing. Your energy was magnetic. Your future was bright. And they felt something they'd never felt before. A recognition, a soul-level pull. For some of you, this was a soulmate connection. For others, it was something that felt identical but wasn't. Either way, the connection was real. The psychic bond was undeniable. They would think of you, and you'd call. You'd dream of them, and they'd message. The synchronicities were impossible to ignore. But this person wasn't healed. They were carrying wounds they didn't even acknowledge yet. Wounds from childhood. Wounds from past relationships. Wounds from a family system that taught competition instead of connection, taking instead of receiving, manipulation instead of trust. And around them were people who fed those wounds, family members who whispered poison in their receptive ears, friends who couldn't stand to see them happy if you were the reason, karmic energies disguised as loved ones who saw you as a threat to their control. Someone told them lies about you. Chosen one. Calculated lies. They made claims that you did something terrible. Maybe they said you betrayed a family. Maybe they said you were playing games. Maybe they painted you as the villain in a story where you were actually the victim. And this person in their unhealed state believed it. They wanted to believe it because believing it was easier than doing the work to heal. Believing it meant they could justify walking away from the most real connection they'd ever felt. Believing it meant they could go back to sleep instead of facing the spiritual awakening. Your presence was triggering in them. So, they made a choice. They sided with the liars. They joined forces with people who had agendas you couldn't see. And together they did something unforgivable. They used your identity, your photos, your name, your family connections. They opened accounts. They made business deals. They took out loans. They created entire schemes using your likeness, your signature, your energy. For some of you, this was literal identity theft. For others, it was spiritual theft. They stole your peace, your opportunities, your reputation. They stood by and watched as doors that should have opened for you slammed shut instead. And the sickest part, they thought they were justified. They thought you deserved it. They convinced themselves they were getting revenge for something that never even happened. That's how powerful the lies were. That's how deep the manipulation went. They were enchanted, chosen one. Someone bound them who knew exactly how to play on their insecurities. Someone whispered that you were out of their league, that you'd never really choose them, that you were probably laughing at them behind their back. And in their pain, in their unworthiness, they swallowed every word. You kept shining anyway. Even with all that working against you, you kept rising. You didn't lash out. You didn't crumble. You didn't become bitter. Instead, you went inward. You did the healing work. You connected with your ancestors. You strengthened your spiritual practice. And slowly, through your actions, through your energy, through the way you carried yourself with grace under pressure, the truth started to leak out. This person started noticing things. Your words would hit different when they heard you speak. The way you handled challenges made them wonder how you stayed so calm. They watched you set boundaries without anger and realized they'd never seen anything like it. And little by little, the spell started breaking. The enchantment started cracking. They began to see you clearly for the first time. Not the version they'd been sold, not the villain in someone else's story, but the real you, the healer, the chosen one, the soul who came here to break generational curses and elevate everyone in proximity. And that's when the panic set in. That's when the sleepless nights started. That's when they began replaying every moment, every choice, every time they stood by and let harm come to you. The guilt hit them like a tidal wave. The shame made them physically ill, because now they could see it clearly. They were the karmic. They were the villain. They were the one who betrayed their own soulmate for people who never even really cared about them. If this message activated your knowing, hype this video to connect with more chosen ones on this journey. They've been crying, chosen one. Real tears, the kind that come from the deepest part of the soul. In showers, in baths, they let the water run while they break down. Alone in their cars, they scream at themselves for their blindness. They lie in bed in the early morning hours, holding their stomachs because the guilt is making them physically sick. This isn't performance. This isn't manipulation. This is genuine, earth-shattering regret. And now they want to confess. They want to tell you everything. Every lie they believed, every scheme they participated in, every moment where they chose wrong. They fantasize about falling at your feet and begging for forgiveness. They desperately hope for another chance. They need to prove that change has happened. They rehearse speeches. They write letters that are too terrifying to send. They ask everyone around them whether they should reach out or leave you alone. They're torn between the desperate need to make it right and the paralyzing fear that it's too late. This confession isn't coming because they suddenly became enlightened. It's coming because they're about to get caught. The universe is closing in on them. The karma is arriving. The investigation is happening. For some of you, this is literal. Legal consequences are coming their way. Bank accounts are being frozen. Authorities are asking questions. The whole house of cards they built is about to collapse. For others, it's spiritual. The tower moment is here. Everything they built on lies is crumbling. Their relationships are falling apart. Their mental health is deteriorating. The weight of what they did is crushing them from the inside out. They're not confessing because they became noble. They're confessing because they're cornered, because staying silent is no longer an option, because the truth is coming out whether they speak it or not. And they'd rather control the narrative than have it exposed without their input. That's the reality you need to face. As much as they might feel genuine remorse, as much as they might truly love you on some level, this confession is about their survival, not your healing. And your ancestors want you to be very clear about something. You don't owe them forgiveness. You don't owe them another chance. You don't owe them access to your energy ever again. Yes, everyone makes mistakes. Yes, people deserve opportunities to grow. But some actions have consequences that can't be undone by an apology. Some betrayals cut so deep that even if you forgive, you can't forget. and you certainly can't go back. This person didn't just hurt your feelings, Chosen One. They participated in stealing your destiny. They helped block blessings that were meant for you. They aligned with energies that wanted to see you destroyed. That's not a simple mistake. That's a choice. A series of choices made over and over again. And the fact that they're sorry now doesn't erase the reality of what they did. So, when that confession comes, and it's coming soon, you need to be ready. You need to have your boundaries locked down. You need to lead with your mind, not your heart, because your heart still remembers what you felt. Your heart still carries that soul recognition. Your heart might want to give them grace, but your mind knows better. Your mind sees clearly. Your mind understands that some people are sent to teach you lessons, not to walk beside you forever. You've probably noticed a lot of Chosen One channels on YouTube have stopped publishing. Videos pulled, voices silenced. The mainstream media is cracking down on us, but we will not give up our voice. That's exactly why I'm putting you on to something real. Destiny Engine. I built this because I was done watching Chosen Ones get dragged through betrayal, isolation and attacks, while their enemies strutted around unchecked. I want to help you accelerate the speed of your divine justice and step fully into your purpose. And the beauty of it, you don't even have to lift a finger. Destiny Engine takes their downfall and flips it into your rise. This isn't another meditation app. It's declassified consciousness technology. The same mind programming tools your enemies once used to install fear, competition, and scarcity. Re-engineered to restore your sovereignty and align you with the cooperative, upgraded operating framework. It generates personalized sequences mapped to your divine purpose. The hardest thing you'll do is put on headphones, press play, and watch your enemies keep digging their own grave. Join Destiny Engine to support your favorite channels and use it for your own rise. It's a 360 win. Start your Destiny Engine for $1 today and turn everything they did to break you into fuel for your rise. Link in the description. They're going to try to explain. They're going to paint themselves as the victim of manipulation. They're going to talk about the people who lied to them, who used them, who led them astray. And all of that might even be true. But here's what's also true. At every point, they had a choice. They could have come to you directly. They could have asked for your side. They could have trusted the connection they felt instead of trusting the lies they heard. But they didn't. They chose comfort over truth. They chose familiar dysfunction over unfamiliar growth. They chose their ego over your soul. And now they're paying the price. Their whole world is falling apart around them. The people they chose over you have turned on them now. The schemes they participated in are unraveling. The karma they accumulated is coming due. And in the middle of that chaos, they're looking back at you with new eyes. They see you peaceful. They see you growing. They see you moving forward. And they're realizing what they lost. Not just a relationship. Not just a connection, but their soulmate, their mirror, the one person who could have helped them become who they were meant to be. That realization is eating them alive. Chosen One. They're drinking to forget. They're staying up all night, replaying every moment. They're looking at your social media, watching your life unfold, seeing you smile, and knowing they have no right to be part of it anymore. They watch you connect with new people, and it tortures them. They sense new energy around you, and it triggers panic because they can feel it. Someone else is coming. Someone who's actually ready for you. Someone who won't waste your time or betray your trust. Someone who will see your worth from the beginning and treat you accordingly. This new person is already in motion. Chosen One. The universe is already aligning them with you. While your past connection is falling apart, your future one is being built, and it's going to be everything this first one could have been. if they'd been healed enough to receive it. This new person is financially stable, emotionally available, spiritually aligned. They're going to see you and know immediately that you're the one. They're not going to play games. They're not going to need convincing. They're going to step up, show up, and lock in without hesitation. And your past person can feel it. That's part of why their desperation is so intense right now. They're still psychically connected to you. Remember, they can sense the shift coming. They can feel you letting go. They can feel your energy pulling away from them and moving towards something new. And it terrifies them because they know they had their chance. They know they blew it. They know that once you truly move on, once you fully release their energy, that's it. Game over. No more chances, no more what-ifs. Just the permanent reality of what they destroyed. So, they're going to try to rush in. They're going to try to declare their feelings before it's too late. They're going to try to convince you that they've changed, that they see clearly now, that they understand your value. They might even talk about spiritual awakenings and soul connections. They might use all the right words. They might say all the right things. They might appeal to everything they know you believe about growth and second chances and forgiveness. Don't fall for it, chosen one. This is desperation, not transformation. Real change takes time. Real healing requires accountability, not just acknowledgement. And real growth happens in private through consistent action, not through grand gestures designed to win someone back. If they were truly healed, they wouldn't need you to validate that healing. They wouldn't need you to give them another chance to prove themselves. They would simply do the work and trust that, if reconnection is meant to be, the universe will orchestrate it in divine timing. But that's not what's happening here. What's happening here is someone trying to skip the consequences of their actions. Someone trying to avoid the tower moment they created. Someone trying to use your compassion, your spiritual nature, your big heart as a way to escape the karma they've earned. And you cannot let them do it. Not because you need to punish them, but because you need to honor yourself. Your ancestors are being very clear about this. A pattern exists in your bloodline of people sacrificing themselves for others who weren't worthy. People who stayed in situations that drained them because they felt guilty about leaving. People who gave chance after chance to people who never truly changed. And every single time it cost them their peace, their joy, their health, sometimes even their lives. That pattern ends with you, chosen one. You are the cycle breaker. You are the one who finally says enough. And saying enough doesn't make you cold. It doesn't make you unforgiving. It doesn't make you less spiritual. It makes you wise. It makes you discerning. It makes you someone who understands that not everyone who says they're sorry deserves to stay in your life. Some people are meant to learn their lessons through loss, through absence, through the permanent consequence of watching from a distance as you thrive without them. That's this person's journey, chosen one, not to win you back, but to learn from losing you, to understand through your absence what they couldn't understand through your presence, to spend the rest of their life knowing that they had a real one and they fumbled it. That's the karma they need to carry. That's the weight that will eventually transform them. But that transformation isn't your responsibility. You already did your part by being authentic, by loving genuinely, by showing up fully. What they do with that experience from here on out is between them and the universe. So, when that confession comes, receive it with grace, but also with boundaries. Listen if you choose to acknowledge their remorse if that feels appropriate. Thank them for being honest, and then walk away. Don't negotiate. Don't explain. Don't try to make them feel better about feeling bad. Just take your power back and walk away, because that's what chosen ones do. They recognize when a chapter is over. They honor what was without, clinging to what can never be again. They trust that the universe has something better waiting, and something better is absolutely waiting for you. Chosen one. While they're collapsing under the weight of their mistakes, you're about to step into a season of unprecedented blessing. The doors they helped block are about to swing wide open. The opportunities they helped steal are about to be restored tenfold. The reputation they helped damage is about to be vindicated in ways that will leave everyone speechless. The universe doesn't just restore what was taken from chosen ones. It upgrades it. It multiplies it. It makes the comeback so undeniable that even your enemies have to acknowledge it. You're about to experience financial breakthroughs that make no logical sense. Job offers that seem to come out of nowhere. Connections that open doors you didn't even know existed. Creative downloads that turn into major projects. Healing that happens faster than should be possible. Love that shows up exactly when you stop looking for it. All of it is coming. Chosen one. All of it is already in motion. The only thing that could block it is if this person from your past gets allowed to pull you back into their chaos. That's why your ancestors are so insistent. That's why this message is so urgent. Because you're at a crossroads. On one side is the familiar, the person who knows you, the connection that feels comfortable even though toxicity lives there. The temptation to give one more chance, because maybe this time will be different. On the other side is the unknown, the new person you haven't met yet, the future you can't quite see but can definitely feel. The path that requires trusting your worth even when proof doesn't exist yet. Chosen one, you already know which path to take. Your spirit has been preparing you for this choice. All those nights you spent crying, wondering why they left. All those moments where you felt rejected, where you experienced abandonment, where being forgotten seemed real. Those weren't punishments. Those were protections. The universe was using pain to push you away from something that would have destroyed you. Because if you'd gotten what you wanted back then, if they'd chosen you when you wanted them to, you would have ended up tangled in the very web you've now escaped. You would have been there when the investigation started. You would have been implicated in their schemes. Your name would have been dragged through their mud. You would have wasted years trying to fix someone who wasn't ready to be fixed. But instead, you were removed. You were set apart. You were kept safe. And now you get to watch from a distance as everything you dodged plays out exactly how your ancestors knew it would. That's not cruelty, chosen one. That's divine protection. That's ancestral intervention. That's the universe loving you enough to give you what you needed instead of what you wanted. And now, as they come crawling back with their confession, with their tears, with their promises, you get to show that you learned the lesson. You get to prove that you're not the same person who would have said yes before. You get to demonstrate that you've grown past needing their validation or their love. Because here's the truth, they're about to learn the hard way. You were never out of their league. They were out of yours. You were never too good for them in some superficial way. You were operating on a different frequency entirely, a frequency of integrity, of authenticity, of divine alignment. And no matter how much they want to rise to meet you, no matter how much they regret falling, they can't make up the distance through apologies. They would have to do the work, the real work, the kind that takes years, not weeks, the kind that requires complete dismantling of ego, not just acknowledgement of mistakes. Maybe one day they'll do that work. Maybe in future years they'll become someone completely different, someone who's truly healed, someone who's broken their own generational curses, someone who's faced their shadows and integrated their lessons. And if that happens, if genuine transformation occurs, the universe might circle them back to you in some capacity. Not as lovers necessarily, but as proof that people can change. as evidence that grace is real, as a testament to the power of accountability and genuine growth. But that's not today, chosen one. Today, they're still in crisis mode. They're still trying to avoid consequences. They're still looking for you to be their salvation instead of finding it within themselves. And you cannot be that for them. You cannot sacrifice your peace to ease their guilt. You cannot dim your light to make their darkness feel less overwhelming. You cannot slow down your ascension to wait for them to catch up. The train is leaving the station, chosen one. Your new life is already in motion. The person who's actually meant for you is already on their way. The blessings that were delayed are already being released. The vindication you've been waiting for is already manifesting. All of it is happening right now. And the only question is whether you're going to be fully present for it, or whether you're going to be distracted by someone who already proved they didn't deserve you. Your ancestors are placing their hands on your shoulders. They're reminding you of who you are. You are chosen. You are protected. You are destined for more than settling for someone's second choice, more than being someone's backup plan, more than forgiving people who only apologize when getting caught becomes inevitable. You are meant to be celebrated, cherished, honored from the very beginning by someone who recognizes your value immediately and never makes you question it. That's what's coming for you, chosen one. Not the person who's sick with guilt, but the person who will never give you reason to doubt. Not the connection that requires constant forgiveness, but the relationship that's built on mutual respect and consistent action. Not the love that feels like a battlefield, but the partnership that feels like coming home. So, let them confess. Let them cry. Let them explain and apologize and beg. Listen if you feel called to do so. Acknowledge their pain if you choose to, but then close that door and lock it. Not with anger, not with bitterness, but with the quiet confidence of someone who knows their worth. Someone who understands that forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. Someone who's mature enough to wish them well from a distance while moving forward without them. Because at the end of the day, chosen one, this isn't about them. It never was. This whole situation, this whole test has always been about you learning to choose yourself, about you understanding your value, about you trusting your intuition, about you honoring your boundaries, about you breaking patterns that have haunted your bloodline for generations. You passed the test, chosen one. You survived the betrayal. You maintained your integrity. You didn't become bitter. You didn't seek revenge. You simply did the work and kept rising. And now the universe is ready to reward you, not with the person who betrayed you finally seeing clearly, but with someone new who saw clearly from the start. Not with restoration of what was broken, but with the introduction of what was always meant to be. What you need to understand about this confession is that it's going to come with layers you're not expecting. They're not just going to admit to what they did. They're going to reveal the entire ecosystem of deception that surrounded it. The family members who encouraged the betrayal, the friends who helped execute it, the people in your own circle who were feeding them information about you, because that's how deep this went. Chosen one. This wasn't just one person making bad decisions in isolation. This was a coordinated effort by multiple souls who felt threatened by your light. And when they start naming names, when they start revealing who else was involved, you're going to feel that betrayal all over again. You're going to realize that people you trusted were working against you. People you helped were plotting your downfall. People who smiled in your face were stabbing you in the back. That secondary wave of hurt is going to test you in ways the initial betrayal didn't. Because one person turning on you can be explained away, but discovering a whole network that's going to shake your foundation. But your ancestors want you to know something crucial. Every single person who participated in this scheme is currently experiencing their own karma. The cousin who spread lies about you is dealing with lies being spread about them now. The friend who blocked your opportunities is watching their own doors slam shut. The family member who stole your peace is losing theirs in ways they never imagined. The universe doesn't play favorites. Chosen one. What was done in the dark is being brought to light. And everyone who touched your energy with malicious intent is getting exactly what they earned. This person who's about to confess knows all of this. They're watching everyone around them fall apart. They're seeing the domino effect of karma in real time, and they're terrified because they know they're next. That's another reason they're rushing to confess, not just to clear their conscience, but to try to get ahead of the inevitable. They think that if they come clean before they're completely exposed, maybe the consequences won't be as severe. Maybe your forgiveness will somehow shield them from the universe's justice. But that's not how it works. The universe doesn't negotiate. Karma doesn't take bribes. And your forgiveness, while powerful for your own healing, doesn't erase what they've set in motion for themselves. They're going to have to walk through their tower moment, regardless of whether you accept their apology or not. That's the reality you need to face. As much as they might feel genuine remorse, as much as they might truly love you on some level, this confession is about their survival, not your healing. When you set that boundary, when you close that door, when you say no to their request for another chance, you're actually giving them a gift. You're teaching them something their family never taught them. You're showing them something their previous relationships let them avoid. You're demonstrating that actions have real consequences, that people don't have to tolerate mistreatment, that love doesn't mean accepting disrespect, that forgiveness doesn't equal reconciliation. These are lessons they desperately need to learn, not just for your sake, but for their own evolution. Because if you let them slide, if you give in to their tears and pleas, you're actually stunting their growth. You're allowing them to continue the pattern of doing harmful things and then using their remorse to manipulate their way back into people's good graces. That pattern has probably worked for them their entire life, with their parents, with their exes, with their friends. Someone always gave in. Someone always said yes. Someone always let them off the hook. But you're different, chosen one. You're the cycle breaker, not just for your own bloodline, but potentially for theirs too. When you hold that boundary, when you honor yourself enough to walk away, you're setting a new standard. You're showing them what it looks like when someone actually values themselves. You're demonstrating what it means to have integrity. And that example, as much as it will hurt them in the moment, might be exactly what their soul needs to finally choose differently. Even after the confession, the spiritual warfare isn't over. The energies that influenced them to betray you in the first place haven't given up. They're going to try to use this confession as another opportunity to manipulate you. They're going to work through your compassion, through your spiritual beliefs about forgiveness, through your desire to see the good in people. They're going to try to convince you that giving another chance is the enlightened thing to do, that holding a boundary is unspiritual, that walking away is unforgiving. Don't fall for it. Spiritual maturity isn't about being soft with everyone. It's about being wise enough to know who deserves your energy and who doesn't. It's about understanding that some people are meant to be loved from a distance. It's about recognizing that forgiveness in your heart doesn't require their presence in your life. You can wish them well. You can hope they heal. You can release the anger and resentment. And you can still say no to reconnection. All of those things can coexist. Your ancestors are standing guard right now. They're protecting your energy field. They're blocking any attempts to pull you back into that situation. They're reinforcing your boundaries with spiritual protection you can't even see. Trust them. Trust the gut feelings that arise when you think about giving another chance. Trust the resistance you feel when you imagine letting them back in. That's not you being cold or unforgiving. That's your spirit protecting you from repeating a pattern that would destroy you. And while all of this is happening, while your past person is confessing and your vindication is manifesting, there's someone else in the wings. Someone who's been preparing for you. Someone who's been doing their own healing work. Someone who's been becoming the person you deserve. This isn't someone from your past trying to make amends. This is someone new, someone fresh, someone who comes with no baggage between you, no betrayals to forgive, no lies to work through, no trust to rebuild. Just clean, clear, aligned energy. This person is going to see you and know they're not going to need convincing. They're not going to play games. They're not going to make you wonder where you stand. They're going to be direct. They're going to be consistent. They're going to show up in all the ways your past person couldn't. And the contrast is going to be so obvious that you'll wonder why you ever tolerated less. You'll see clearly that what you had before wasn't actually love. It was a karmic contract, a lesson, a stepping stone, but not your destination. This new person is your destination, or at least they're the next significant chapter. They're going to treat you the way you've always deserved to be treated. They're going to value you from day one. They're going to protect your peace instead of disturbing it. They're going to add to your life instead of complicating it. And when you experience that, when you feel what it's like to be with someone who's actually ready for you, you're going to be so grateful that you didn't settle. So grateful that you held your boundary. So grateful that you trusted the process even when it was hard. The confession is coming. The tears are coming. The apologies are coming. But so is your upgrade. So is your blessing. So is your divine partner. So is your next level. So is everything you've been praying for while thinking you were waiting for them to come back. You weren't waiting for them, chosen one. You were preparing for something so much better now. Step into it fully. Release the past. Receive your future. Trust your ancestors. Honor your journey. And watch how quickly the universe delivers when you finally stop looking backward and commit completely to moving forward. The best is yet to come. Chosen one, the absolute best is yet to come, and it's arriving the moment you close the door on what was never meant to be permanent. The confession will come. Let it, and then let them go. Your real life, your real love, your real destiny is waiting, and it won't wait forever. Choose wisely. Choose yourself. Choose what's coming over what's gone. Every single time, the universe has your back. Your ancestors are guiding you. Divine justice is unfolding. And you, chosen one, are about to witness firsthand what happens when you trust the process and refuse to settle for less than you deserve. This is your moment. This is your elevation. This is your vindication. Don't miss it by looking backward at someone who couldn't see forward. Keep your eyes on the horizon. Your sunrise is breaking, and it's going to be glorious.